Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute. If I can get Mr. Cheek, so I can do the honors. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law by posting a notice of this meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building and by publication in the Press of Atlantic City and Star Ledger on January the 6th and January the 7th, 2024. Mr. Cheek?
Here.
Mr. Laws?
Here.
Mr. Patali?
Here.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Here.
Okay, I'd like to take this moment to provide a moment of silence for private reflection. Okay. All right, so today we have a guest presentation, Weymouth Road Bridge Project.
Yeah, we don't have one.
Okay, so do I have to say that, or?
Yeah, you can say that and say we have enough, there isn't.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nicole Brown. I am working with Atlantic County. I'm with JMT. We're the design consultant for the bridge replacement project of HML 18 and HML 19. Those are two bridges that carry Weymouth Road over Skulls Run and Little Mill Stream. So I'm going to keep this pretty high level. I don't want to keep everyone here too long. We'll go over just generally what the project entails, probably what everybody's most interested in is the traffic control, and then the schedule pretty quickly. So first and foremost, our Atlantic County project manager is Diane over here. My name is Nicole Brown. Like I said, I'm the bridge engineer, and then Lindsay Klesitz, who's in the back row back there, is our highway engineer. So the two bridges are about a mile apart, so it's difficult to show them on a map that you can actually see, so I've split them up a little bit. So HML 18 in the top right carries Weymouth Road over Skulls Run, and then HML 19 carries Weymouth Road over Little Mill Stream. So this project involves a complete replacement of both bridges, which will involve the relocation of aerial utilities, which include Atlantic City electric lines, Verizon and Comcast, and then we also have a gas line underground on one side of Weymouth Road that will be relocated. Actually has been relocated, actually. I think the aerial lines are in the process of being relocated. The gas main has been relocated already. So the roadway is going to remain open during construction. We don't want to hinder anybody's access to businesses or private residences. So HML 18 was originally constructed in 1925. It has a narrower roadway width of about 28.5 feet. It's a three-sided reinforced concrete frame, and it's supported on cast-in-place concrete spread footings and timber matting. So you can kind of see in this photo that the timber bulkhead shows a little bit of decay, and that's the portion that isn't underwater. So what's below the water line is significantly worse. HML 19 is even older. It was constructed in 1915. It has stone masonry abutments on the original side, and then it was widened in 1942 using reinforced concrete abutments. It's supported on timber piles, and it's showing some signs of scour. So what we're intending to do here is replace both bridges with precast concrete rigid frames. So these are precast off-site, shipped to the bridge site, and then just kind of placed on top of the cast-in-place concrete footings. So the traffic control. In order to keep this road open during construction, what we're intending to do is keep one side of Weymouth Road open at all times. We'll have temporary traffic signals at both ends of each bridge. We'll construct HML 19 first, and then HML 18. So first, we'll close one lane of HML 19. We'll demolish one side of the bridge in that top left image. We'll have alternating traffic going on that remaining left side of the structure. Then we'll reconstruct the side that was demolished with the new precast concrete frame. And then we'll shift traffic over to that newly constructed side, demolish the remainder of the bridge, and then reconstruct the remaining side. So then we'll have our final reconstructed bridge in place. So,
Nicole, excuse me,
Yes.
that sounds like what you did on Weymouth Road in the area of Camp Agagistia and Winding River Campground. You did a bridge with a temporary traffic light. It's the same thing you're talking about doing here?
yeah, it'll be,
That's perfect.
okay. But again, since they're a little farther apart, they're about a mile in between, that's why we have to do one at a time, because if you close traffic for a whole mile, well, waiting for people to get, it would take a long time.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And then, like I was saying before, the gas main has been relocated, the aerial utilities are, the Atlantic City Electric has been relocated, I believe Comcast has been relocated, I think we're waiting on one last line for Verizon to be relocated. We're expecting this to go to bid in mid-2024 and then awarded in late 2024. And then each stage, so we'll have the first stage of HML 19, second stage of HML 19, and then first stage of HML 18, second stage of HML 18. Each will last about 3 to 4 months. So our total project duration will be about 1 year. And that's it. Any questions?
Do you have a copy of the presentation?
I can send it to, I can provide it after the
That would be
game.
nice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No.
All right, so next we have an addition, deletion of late agenda items to be considered for action tonight. I don't think we have any, right? So we're good there, all right. And early public comment on agenda items excluding items listed for public hearing. Brett, do we have
We
any?
have no one signed up.
No one signed up, awesome, thank you. Moving right along. Okay, discussions, formal action may be taken. 3A, Waves of Green Cannabis Plan Update, Block 994, Lot 39, Oakwood Boulevard. Resolution authorizing execution of escrow agreement with Waves of Green LLC.
Mr. Deputy Mayor, I'd like to recuse myself.
Absolutely. Thank you. Don't go far.
Whatever you're more comfortable. Or sit here.
Yes, it works. All right. Good evening, everybody. So my name is Paul Giblin. I am the Chief Operating Officer of Waves of Green LLC. My wife, Caroline, sitting there, is the CEO and 100% owner. So we were here to tell you about our project that's been many years in the making. So we're going to start with a brief business overview. So just a little bit about who we are. Caroline and I both come from Mays Landing, so we're locals. We've gone through the process of getting this to be a certified WEBE, Women Business Enterprise, with the state. We've gone through a whole lot of iterations with the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission, the CRC, and we currently hold a Class 1 conditional license. Class 1 is for cultivation only. It's not for manufacturing or retail sales or anything else. It's strictly cultivation. We are currently pre-revenue, so we are not a multi-state operator coming in and just dropping into Mays Landing trying to add business here. This is the only place that we intend to set up shop. So we're Mays Landing or bust, essentially. In terms of the business operations that will be engaged in, assuming that we clear all the hurdles and raise the necessary funds to build out the facility that we're planning, it'll be cultivation of plants. So it'll be from seedlings and clones to full-blown mature plants, which will be harvested for their flowers, and then we'll be trimming that product on site and packaging it. And then in terms of actual sales, all of that product will go to retail dispensaries. So our customers are not the consuming public, they're the end consumers ultimately. But our relationships will be with dispensaries and delivery services and manufacturers who will buy the actual flower, and then they'll be responsible for the sale to the public that's going to consume them. So that's the business at a high level and concept. We've been working on plans for a facility on Block 994, Lot 39 in the industrial park. Based on the size of the lot and aligning to the New Jersey CRC's requirements around facility sizing, we're anticipating a roughly 43,000 square foot building, which will support 10,000 square feet of flowering canopy. The state defines flowering canopy as the physical space that's consumed by plants that are beginning to set buds. So that doesn't include immature plants that haven't gotten to that stage of life yet. So things like clones that are still adding plant mass and things like that. The facility, as we've laid it out, will have 63 parking spaces. So there are different points in time where we'll have an influx of additional folks coming in to do things like trim and pack, but that happens on an interval as we harvest the plants. So we don't need people that are trimming and packing every day of the week because that only happens at set periods in the cycle for harvest. There's been a lot of discussion here over the years about containment of odors and aromas. Obviously, we're in the industrial park and there's a bunch of schools in the area, so we don't want smells getting out. So there will be charcoal filters that will be in line for any air that is leaving any kind of production space. So the idea there is that VOCs, the things that smell, are going to pass through the charcoal filters where those smells get absorbed and eliminated before any of that air makes it to the outside, so that you don't have bad things wafting over to Hess. And of course, we intend to comply with the ordinance of the township around testing for those things as well. Additionally, the facility is going to have a lot of security baked in. We care about people getting illicit access to the product. Of course, we want to make sure that it's safe and secure. We also want to make sure that the people that are working in the facility are safe and secure. So we've layered in security into every aspect of the building design, right down to like where our conference space sits and making sure that nobody has any kind of internal access to controlling with our standard operating procedures how product is transferred into vehicles for transport to places like delivery services or retail establishments for end sale, and making sure that those things are tightly buttoned up. This is the location of the lot in the industrial park. So we've chosen this specific lot because it's as far away as we could get while still being, from schools that is, while still being on a lot that was suitable and sized appropriately for what we're trying to do there. And then this is a preliminary diagram. So we've been working with our civil engineer to try and make sure that everything is going to fit correctly. So this is where we came up with that 43,000 square foot number. This is how we have the parking spaces. There's retention basins on the front end, and we've arranged the building on the property in this way, not only because obviously it needs retention basins, but because they act as one more layer of security. There will be fencing all the way around the outside, as well as a security gate at the driveway. This is an idea of what the outside of the building might look like. So we're aiming for as little entry and egress points as humanly possible while still being legally compliant. And again, that's one more security measure. We don't want to have a whole bunch of doors all the way around the outside of this, or windows that are just entry points, not only for people that might want to break in to gain access to product, but also for things like pests and contaminants and whatnot, and are also places where we could have air leakage, which could contribute potentially to some of the smells that we were talking about earlier. These are elevations, again, for the same building. This is a rough layout of the floor plan. So we have entry space here. So this is the lobby area with a receptionist. We have conference space so that regulators or auditors are able to come into our facility and engage with our people and do their work without being cleared into any of the process space in the back. We have restrooms, locker rooms, a couple of offices, and kitchen area for break time here. And then as you get into the facility, these are all positive pressure rooms. So in each one of these places, we're going to have HVAC designed such that it's maintaining positive air pressure so that we're keeping contaminants out of the product spaces. And then we have space for security and electrical utilities here, as well as water in the middle. So plants will essentially start in these areas where they'll be cut as clones and turned into vegetative plants. Then they'll move through the facility into one of these two vegetative spaces here where they're going to put on additional bulk and mass. And then finally, they'll go around to one of these 10 flowering chambers on the outside of the building where they're going to finish out their life cycle and set buds and produce the compounds that the product is known for. Ultimately, they're going to be cut down, harvested, and dried out. They'll be hung up in one of these two rooms to dry. And then after they've dried for a sufficient period of time, usually 2 to 3 weeks, they'll be brought into this room over here, and that's where our trim and pack operations will take place, where the folks will take the product off of the stems, remove the leaves, package them up into jars, weigh them, that kind of stuff. And then finally, we have a product vault. And then we have one garage bay for both ingress and egress. So as we're bringing in things like nutrients for the soil, we are going to be fully organic. So as we're bringing in nutrients, we'll be storing those things here. As we're shipping product to dispensaries or retail services or manufacturers, we're also going to use the same bay. And again, we're making sure that things like, from a security perspective, the door is shut before anything is moved out of our vault area and moved into these things. That also helps with odor containment. So we just had a snapshot of our progress to date. As we said, we've been working on this for quite some time. So this is our WEB, our CRC license. We've been working with the Pinelands Commission for a while now. They had us do a couple of additional surveys for red-headed woodpeckers and an archaeological survey to look for cultural resources, being that the Lenape were very active here. We did achieve a certificate of filing back in September, and we continue to work on engineering and architecture. In terms of next steps, we intend to work with the township with the redevelopment process to make sure that we're, again, complying with everything. We still need to do some mechanical engineering, engage with the MUA on utilities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's pretty much it. Questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
I see on your presentation that your license expiration date is June 18, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Have you applied for a new one?
So we intend to apply for the conversion to an annual license so that we have that locked in. That doesn't require the facility to be built yet, and even though it's called an annual license, it's essentially still a conditional because they don't actually authorize you to do anything until you've built a facility and they've inspected it to ensure that it's up to their standards, as well as yours, of course.
So that will be renewed annually, you said?
Sorry?
That will be renewed annually?
Yeah, that has to be renewed annually, yes.
Okay, and just one other question. I know you are away from a school, but you are across the street from a church, not too far from it. Have you talked to them just to let them know that they're not going to smell or?
We have not done any outreach yet. No, we have not.
Will you?
Yes, of course.
Is that it? Any other questions?
Do you have, I know just from questions that many residents have brought up from the past.
Sure.
can you give a little bit of an overview of how you control pests? I know you're not supposed to use pesticides, I believe is the law,
Yep.
or whatever. Could you give a little overview on that?
Yeah, so the way that we intend as an organic operation to control for pests is actually with other pests of sorts. So there are beneficial insects that you can deploy, and there are retailers that sell these in little sachets that you can put on the stems, and they don't go airborne. They're bugs that will crawl down into the top layer of the soil and eat the other insects that can damage the plants. Part of, and I'll zip back here, one of the other control mechanisms we have is the division of these different spaces. So the reason we have 10 different rooms is to mitigate some of that risk. So if we were to have a crop contaminated in one of the 10 rooms, ideally we can isolate and limit that to just that one and then cull that crop and dispose of it appropriately without risking the other 10 and having the business take a massive hit. So that's one. Major contaminant risk with cannabis is actually mold. So mold spores are a real risk in so much as they can land on the bud of the plant as it's forming, and then the flower grows around it, and then it can actually contaminate the inside. So when I mentioned positive pressure air in those rooms, it's for that purpose. It's to prevent outside air that may have some of those contaminants and those spores floating around in it move in. The air inside the rooms will also be recirculated with filters, and that, again, is to keep things out of the air. And then the actual entry points into these areas are controlled. So there will be things like foot baths as you go from the restroom area into the rest of the area, which is modeled after pharma. And the idea there is that if you have any kind of contaminants on the bottom of your shoes, we want to make sure that that is eliminated as well. So we're doing as much as we can. Obviously, we don't want to be putting any kind of pesticide whatsoever as an organic operation on the plants because that ends up being stuff.
How about fertilization? Any chance of that escaping from your facility?
So we're doing soil-grown cannabis, so we'll be taking soil samples on a regular basis and sending them off to extension services at Rutgers to get tested. And we're only going to be adding organic amendments, and those have to be broken down by bacterias and things in the soil as well to go there. So we're not going to be using any kind of artificial fertilizers. So ideally, the runoff that we have does not have high levels of any kind of nutrients in it.
And I'm assuming a backup generator to run all of that filtration system and
So
everything like that.
we're looking into power storage with battery units and solar right now.
Okay, good.
Just one question. As far as your security plan, you plan on linking up with our chief or with our police department to kind of devise a, security plan that makes sense for our town?
Sure. We have not done that yet, but
Right,
that's-
but
that
that's-
makes absolute sense, and
Yes,
we'd be
I
happy to
just
do
would like
that.
to.
Sure.
Okay. Is that okay with you, chief? Thank you. All right, so if there's no other questions.
Just one more question.
Okay.
I just want to be clear, because this expires June the 18th, so when will you get another license?
Which piece? I'm sorry, the CRC license?
Hold on, I highlighted it on your
June
presentation.
8th, the NJCRC.
You're talking about the CRC license on June 18th?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the CRC has been granting extensions on conditionals on a repeated basis. So we've actually held Class 1 conditional license for 2 years? A significant amount of time, so they've just continually granted us extension after extension after extension. We're going to convert it to annual so that we have to do that less frequently. But there's no foreseen issues with carrying that on because the state wants this industry to grow.
My question is, when are you going to get the other license?
When are we going to get that?
Convert by, again, we'll do a conditional conversion on the June 2024 number, but we have to have planning board, we have to go through this process first. So as long as we put in for an extension.
Yeah, she needs to be in front of a mic, I'm sorry.
Short answer is we don't have a date yet,
And for an
so we'll need to
extension
plan that
before
still.
that period, will be granted another conditional.
No.
And that just keeps going until we finish our building, and then they give us an annual.
No.
Thank you.
absolutely not.
Thank you very much. Okay, so do we have a motion or a second on the resolution authorizing execution of escrow agreement with Waves of Green LLC?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second? I'll second it then. Okay. All right. Any comments?
No, sir.
Okay.
Do we get a roll
Just
call?
a roll call, right? Yes, a roll call? Okay. Because I was reading the wrong thing. Okay. It's a roll call vote?
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laws?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Okay.
Hang on 1 second, I'll go get,
So you get Rich.
yes, we're ready for,
Rich?
oh, thank you, he should be right in the lunchroom.
Seems to go on. Okay, welcome back, Mayman Cheek. All right, next item for discussion is the landfill redevelopment extension. Do we have
Emily
information?
Gibbons,
Okay.
Redevelopment Council for the Township. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We're here tonight to talk about the proposed execution of an addendum to the landfill redevelopment agreement. This addendum is intended to take us through to the end of the process that has been described by Mr. Dye and his company through the original redevelopment agreement and then through their progress reports that he has presented to mayor and committee over the years. This particular addendum incorporates in it Exhibit A, which is a Gantt chart that shows the length of time that is proposed to take us through to the end of the cleanup and then transfer of the property to the redeveloper to install the solar facility if that's the direction that he still intends to go. So this, the length of time, the duration that's set forth in Exhibit A is 705 days. It is very detailed in terms of what has to occur. The dates that are in here are not actual dates that we will check off that it's July 30th, but there are periods of time within which actions have to be taken. If those actions cannot be achieved within that time period, the redeveloper is going to have to come back to committee and request an extension 30 days before that expiration so that he can explain to committee the basis for that extension. So if there's a need for a site clearing extension, he'll have to be here 30 days before that should start to occur in order to get that extension. And committee is not required to grant that extension if they are not satisfied with the basis for that extension. So that's not built in. What is built in is if there are regulatory delays. If for some reason a regulatory agency has to take a look at something that's been submitted and everything was submitted on time, but there's a delay in processing that regulatory approval before he can begin the next step, he will have to come to committee and advise you, but those delays are outside of his control. As long as he is diligently pursuing those approvals, he can continue and will not have to get an extension from you for that. So the addendum that you have before you incorporates that Gantt chart into it, and it will allow both the redeveloper and the committee a better level of security with regard to what is expected to be done and when. So if anyone has any questions with regard to that.
I understand exactly what you're saying concerning the chart, the exhibit.
Mhm.
There are no dates.
Correct.
In this resolution, this addendum, it states that this ends April 2nd.
No, the prior extension runs through April 2nd of 2024. So the current extension that was granted to the redeveloper ends tomorrow.
Correct.
Yes.
I don't see the 750 days.
The 705 days is at the top of the chart, Exhibit A. It's the very top.
But that's not what I'm trying to say.
We don't have an
Not
end date.
articulate-
No, but
I'm not articulating it right. I'm saying in this 3B, the discussion is the landfill redevelopment extension. In that agreement should say something reflecting what you're saying, not for, whether it's to go to the chart, because there's no dates on the chart. There's nothing.
I understand that there's not an actual date certain. The difficulty with that is that we are not clear from Pinelands yet, and so the activities that he can take on the site can't begin until Pinelands gives its final approval. Everything has been submitted to the Pinelands. They simply have not granted approval yet.
I'm not confused with that. I am saying, and I will reiterate, it needs to be reflected in this resolution. One thing I've learned, if it's not in black and white, it didn't happen. And according to this, it does not state anything that you're saying. We're supposed to know, if anyone comes after us, they got to know to look at this exhibit in order to follow it. They should be able to follow it by what is written in the resolution, is what I'm saying.
Well, they should be able to follow it by what's written in the addendum.
Correct, so if you look at the resolution, number 1, authorize the execution of the addendum. It then goes to the addendum that includes the Gantt chart as
Correct.
Exhibit A. So the resolution just allows the execution of that addendum.
Seems like Ms. Witherspoon wants a date.
That
on
is
the
correct,
Gantt
because on this right here, even in the addendum, it says it is extended through April 2nd, 2024. So that means that would end tomorrow.
Correct, yes, the prior resolution expires tomorrow. So the purpose of this resolution and the addendum is to extend it beyond that prior resolution. So this, and essentially, is an extension of that prior contract by adding the addendum and highlighting the specific milestones and the days that it would take to complete those milestones.
So it shouldn't say extended through April 2nd, 2024. It should say, the addendum should say beginning April 3rd or April 2nd, 2024, pursuant to the chart.
So if I'm understanding correctly, you're asking about paragraph 2 on the resolution, correct? That says the April 2nd date.
Correct.
So that paragraph indicates that the prior extension under Resolution 2023-0389 was already extended through April 2nd, 2024.
Okay.
And that's the reason for the need for the extension.
So what we're doing now is pretty much approving an extension from tomorrow until,
Beyond the prior resolution that was granted up until April 2nd, 2024, correct?
does that encompass the 705 days?
Yes,
That's
so
what I was-
the
okay.
extension incorporates Exhibit A, which is the Gantt chart that
Yes.
sets forth the
I
timeline
understand.
of 705 days. And it includes certain milestones and the length of time that each of those milestones is supposed to occur within. And some of those are going to overlap, and some of them may be completed in a shorter time frame.
Okay.
And Mr. Dye is going to have to keep the Township Committee appraised of his progress. So when a particular event is completed, right here on number 7, we have LCP approval by NJDEP. It's anticipated to take 10 days to get that. If that takes 5 days, he will let us know, and then he should be moving on to the next milestone. If he believes that one of these milestones is going to take longer, or he's not going to be able to begin that milestone in the time that is set forth in the chart, he's going to have to let you know at least 30 days ahead of time and get your permission to move the entire time frame further back.
Who from the township is going to be responsible to make sure we're hitting these timelines?
So that's going to be in coordination with Mr. Dye reporting, and I would imagine Mr. Knoll's office. And if you would like our office to participate in that monitoring, we certainly can.
So, let's say, site clearing, we get to that point, and for some reason, whoever was gonna come do his site clearing can't come and do it. So now we're gonna miss that time. We're gonna miss that set time.
Mr.
Do we
Day,
throw him off the job? Is there a penalty?
so, no, and that's based more so on the original redevelopment agreement that allowed for a 90-day cure period. So we are tightening that up by giving him 30 days rather than 90 days. And Mr. Dye has agreed to that, but there's no penalty. We're hoping that this time frame and the notification requirements will help him to keep the project moving forward. At this point, we're almost at a point where regulatory agency review and approval is not going to hold him up any longer. And I'm sure that he can speak to this, but the Pinelands should have this on their agenda July. And so we would be starting the actual process, and we would be hitting those days where work will be done on site sooner rather than later, and get that process started. So,
I have always been supportive of Mr. Dye. I always have. But this resolution here does not reflect anything that you're saying. The chart does. But to me, the resolution should indicate to follow the chart, or say something of the 705 days, the addendum. It says absolutely nothing.
so in the addendum itself, the document that the township and that Mr. Dye will be signing, that binds, says that the redeveloper has provided timely updates, and he has provided the township with an anticipated schedule of necessary steps that must be taken to bring the project to completion, which is called the project schedule. Attached here too is Exhibit A. Redeveloper has requested an extension of the landfill redevelopment agreement commensurate with Exhibit A, contingent on approvals, which redeveloper is diligently pursuing. The township believes it to be in the best interest of the township to grant the requested extension to the landfill redevelopment agreement as reflected in Exhibit A. And then, in the event, despite its due diligence in pursuing any and all remaining approvals and permits, regardless of which governmental entity requires same funding to complete all necessary obligations under the landfill redevelopment agreement and this addendum, the redeveloper requires an extension to the timeline set forth in Exhibit A. The township agrees not to unreasonably withhold, condition, or delay its approval of such request. Then it goes on to say that redeveloper shall make any request for an extension to the project schedule set forth in Exhibit A, attached hereto and incorporated herein, at least 30 days prior to the date set forth for completion in Exhibit A. So it does incorporate fully that exhibit and that timeline into the agreement. And the resolution authorizes execution of the addendum. But the addendum itself sets forth the terms.
I'm really not comfortable with this, the way that's written, but, you know, I will go with the pleasure of everyone else. I'm not comfortable the way that looks. Only because of what it states, you know, in the very, very beginning. To me, that should be more clear. There's gonna be other people that come, hopefully I'll be here for a while, but there may be people that come after me. They should be able to look at this and know that those dates with those timelines, they should know that. Not look at an addendum with tiny font of 705 days. That's ridiculous. That's not clear. It's really not clear. I mean, you're saying if we look at the exhibit, we're supposed to know from the exhibit, but even on the exhibit, it says first quarter, there are no dates, there's nothing. So how should the township do our due diligence in actually following this timeline when there are no dates here?
I understand what your question is. It's just difficult for me to be able to put dates in. The flexibility that we were trying to achieve through this addendum without setting specific dates and having Mr. Dye have to come back to mayor and committee and request another extension and another addendum was to allow for a time frame. And so,
Just give me an example, or just on the first quarter. Just give me one example, and then maybe that'll clear me up.
okay, so he anticipates getting Pineland's approval, and then that will begin the issuance of the access agreement for the adjacent lots. The industrial commission is going to take their action and do their authorization of an access agreement. And so number 6 will be done, and Pinelands Commission will have given approval, and say we start on June 1. Then on June 10th, he will have to have received the LCP approval by NJDEP. And so we won't have a date certain until we have that first milestone where we can start the clock from. And as soon as we get that, then all of those days will follow. But until we have that first date, we can't, thank you. We can't give you that date certain.
So in essence, once we get to that date, the 705 days begin, the clock starts on the 705 days, is that?
That starts tomorrow, that starts after April 2nd.
Okay, so,
No, no.
That's where I'm confused at.
Yes. So if you look, the 705 days, there is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
Right.
right,
Right, so that's, nothing comes off of the 705
Right.
until we get to
The
number
prime.
7.
right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay.
And the date that number 7 occurs,
From that day.
that's the
Start
date we
from
start the
705.
And I
705
think
clock.
that's the
Okay.
question that you were trying to get across, right?
That was
Yeah,
the question.
Yeah, all right, so, yeah.
Thank
And I
you.
apologize for not being able to articulate it.
No, I just think it was a misunderstanding. I think we got it clear now, and that happens.
And then there may be other permits that you have to get that obviously we can't put a date on it because
If there are any other that come up, but
that's the
Yeah,
only,
that-
that's the only one.
Yeah.
that should be the last one, and that's
Right,
why.
Well, I'm hearing the word should.
Jeff, can you go to the mic real quick? Clarify that, that Pinelands is the only last remaining
The
permit?
Pinelands is the tricky one, but the DEP landfill closure plan approval, they are not allowed to issue until Pinelands issues approval. So that's the 10 days.
That's formality.
They already have all the documents in place. They're ready to issue that. They're just waiting for Pinelands in order to issue their approval.
And if the person who's in charge of that is on vacation that week, you're obviously not going to get it.
Well, no, that's at the Pinelands.
It's basically what it's just what I'm saying. These aren't the only permits. You're going to need permits from the township.
That's true, yes. We need street opening permit. We need.
You hear that, Bob? So when he sends it.
already got it. Relax. I'm not slowing
just,
this down.
I'm being the devil's advocate
I'm not
here.
slowing this down.
So
And we
that,
need soil erosion sediment
so that
control.
7 months from now, when you come up here and somebody's going, I thought you said, the 705 days starts
Yeah, those
here.
applications are prepared. Actually, the street
So-
opening permit's already been filed. It's just sitting there. The soil erosion sediment control plan application is ready to go in. Obviously, we need to get the.
But you can't do that until you get the Pinelands.
Well, yeah, unless the
Okay.
finance would have a change to it, which they're not really going to comment on the soil erosion sediment control, we don't believe.
Okay.
Just as a quick update for committee, the two most...
Before you go into the
Okay.
update, just a quick question. So you've already submitted the application to Pinelands. That's where we've established that, is that correct?
That's correct. That was
Okay, so
submitted
we're
last
just
May.
waiting for their review and,
We submitted the application in
Okay.
last May. They submitted a letter in July.
okay,
We have done the additional work,
Very
field
good.
work, et cetera, and so forth, and submitted everything to them. The last piece was a letter from Mr. Roberts consenting to the application submittal,
okay.
and that's what was submitted on March 6th.
And then, okay, so, and then the items that have been discussed, and you can go ahead and give us the update after this, but the items that have been discussed are the items that you feel you're in agreement that 705 days is enough time for you to get this stuff done. Is that
That's correct,
correct?
yeah.
Okay, all right.
We think we'll be
I just
able-
want to be clear
We
that
think
that's-
we'll be able to outperform that timeline by quite a bit, particularly because of the groundwater monitoring, which you'll see is stretched out.
Right, so you have padded in times for delays and so on and so forth. That's all
Normal
padded into the
construction delays, weather,
705.
so forth,
Very good.
yes.
So you're a good planner. Okay, so go ahead. Go ahead.
No, the one update was that we got the letter from Mr. Roberts. That was a big issue. And the other is that the outside consultant that the Pinelands hired to review the permeable versus impermeable provided a memo to the executive director that our plan is compliant with the CMP and that a permeable cap is acceptable for this landfill. So those were two major milestones that were out there. We had outside parties, and those have been achieved. So it's I reached out to the Pinelands this morning to get an update. Aileen just mentioned Ernie is on vacation till Thursday. So tomorrow would be the deadline for getting on this next agenda with the Pinelands Commission. This schedule assumes that'll be next, that we're a month later than that. So I thought we would already perhaps be outperforming, but Pinelands is still reviewing. And the main review they're doing now is the stormwater, which is the Collier's work and their design with the 24 infiltration basins or whatever the heck it is that we have out there now. Or infiltration features, I should say.
While you're at the mic, I have a question. The SESC implementation, 210 days, what is actually that?
Yeah, soil erosion sediment control, that happens throughout the duration of the project.
Okay.
So just, you maintain silt fence, maintain runoff control.
Sorry, could you repeat that? You said
Yeah.
it so fast, I didn't get it.
I'm sorry, soil erosion sediment control.
Okay.
That's issued by the Soil Conservation District of the county. That's one of the other permits, along with the street opening that we have ready to roll here. That maintaining of soil erosion obviously happens during the entire length of the project. So
Okay.
And then just to clarify, you have 705 days. That is calendar days, not work days, correct?
when it says 10 days, those are actually, the days over here are actual work days. The total duration of time over the quarters it has up top here is calendar.
Calendar days.
A little bit of both in this.
Okay, well then, just say you're less than 2 years, 705 days. Your construction ends go out to
Like
1
39
year
months.
and 3 months, not the well monitoring. So your construction is 705 days, calendar days.
Construction is effectively finished at the end of the soil erosion sediment control.
Yeah, okay, but that, your quarters and your calendar days on the chart come up to 1 year and 3 months. Ballpark, the same as 700 days. And now you're saying 705 days is actually work days.
No, the calendar is calendar days across the top. These, you see here on this column where it has the number of days by task here?
Yes,
That's work days, yeah.
they're work days. Are you going
10
to,
days, it's 2 weeks.
I realize that, that's why I asked you the question, but the work chart shows 1 year and 3 months for your construction. 1 year and 3/4, which would be 700 days, ballpark. Not 700 work days, 700 calendar days. So you're putting in that the duration is 705 days, but you're saying it's 705 work days.
This calendar over the quarters here is accurate. So
Because some of those days might overlap.
Overlapping.
Yeah,
some of
they
them.
Yeah,
will
some of
overlap,
those
yeah.
days
some of
overlap.
these tasks are going to be overlapping, yes.
Okay,
So we need a clarification on that. It
Yes,
has to be
definitely.
either
Well, it looks
calendar
like-
days
Yeah,
or work
it's on the
days.
chart.
no, it's on
If
the
it's
chart.
work days,
You're right.
it comes out to
shows
like 2 3/4 years.
Emily, do you follow that?
That's 5 days
So-
working.
So what
Are we
what I'm
talking about
following
the stuff
from-
that's in red and yellow? Because that looks
No,
like
no,
it's
no,
permits.
No, what I'm
I'm
following from
talking
Rich's
about
question is,
End of
if
the
we,
blue right here.
if we add up all of the days and the number of days that it's going to take to do each of the tasks, it's going to exceed the 705
Gotcha.
The 705 calendar days.
calendar day. No, so we have 705 days, but yes, it will exceed the 705 calendar days. What Mr. Dye is saying is that some of these tasks are actually overlapping, and so while it will take 10 days to get the, potentially to get that approval by NJDEP, once that's gotten at the same time, we can get the submittal certified and mobilization starting at the same time.
Oh, yeah, right here,
So
right here.
it's not
They're
gonna be
all-
11
They're all
days.
overlapped right here.
But as far as looking at it, starting off first, what he's calling the first quarter, day one, the first month, the first quarter, and then it goes out 1 year and 3/4, 700 days.
Yeah.
That's actual construction.
That's true. Well, from
Can we make sure we get that in the
construction
minutes?
entrance pad site mobilization, and task 9.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, task 9 is mobilization, so from there would be your construction.
Yeah, well, once you get your pine lands, the clock starts to tick.
Correct.
You have 705 calendar, ballpark, whatever it is, the year and 3 months,
I'll provide the clarity
or
on that. I
quarter. get it
believe
done.
these are work days. I'm not sure, and perhaps the 705 is work days, but I think the calendar is accurate here.
Well, as long as we go by the calendar, because you can multitask.
Yep. Yes, correct.
So you want that clarification in?
Yes, please. And looking at your schedule, there's a lot of fluff in there.
There should be, yes. A lot of the construction tasks can happen concurrently.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and
And
there's comfort zone built into this,
Yes.
so.
As requested by the professionals when we put this together. The other thing is that it's 8 quarters of groundwater sampling, which we've already done the first. You can see that today's line is here. And the good news, as previously indicated, groundwater is very clean at this site. So the DEP's guidance is 8 quarters of monitoring, 2 years. But with good results like this, you can reduce that. So that's a factor that groundwater.
Well, the monitoring, the pink area here, that's after construction. That's
Right.
not part of the 705 days, yeah.
Correct.
So we will clarify
Get the
Exhibit
clarity on the
A
work
Yeah.
days versus
and
calendar
put
days. And I apologize for the
705
confusion.
calendar days.
Yes.
705 calendar days.
I
Can we
apologize.
still
I'll verify, but I
take a roll
apologize.
call vote on this? I
Yes.
mean, okay, yeah, all
But I
right.
think that
Very
committee
good.
is okay with accepting 705 calendar days, not 705 work days.
Yes.
Okay.
He's good with that? Okay, all right. So can I get a motion and a second, please?
For clarification purposes, Mr. Knoll just handed out an updated resolution to pass out the committee. We did notice as we were going through, not the addendum, but the resolution, there was a typo.
Okay.
It didn't change the spirit of the resolution. You can verify going back and forth between the two proposed resolutions. There was just
Thank you.
a name that wasn't supposed to be in there, so it was just a typographical error, but we did want the appropriate update to be presented before committee tonight.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you for finding that and getting ahead of it, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I just have a clarification. If he's falling behind, just say mobilization. You have you have 10 days after, and you're not mobilizing. does he have to come to us then to say why he didn't mobilize? Or does he have a chance to make it up in the construction schedule to hit the next milestone
If he's going to require an extension to that 705 days,
of the
or
total
any
705?
of the total 705,
okay.
he will have to come to you 30 days before
Mhm.
and get that
Yeah,
extension.
but if he makes it up
If he believes he
during
can make it,
construction,
yeah.
null and void, yes.
If it's something like mobilization, we're gonna call him and ask him why he's not there yet. But, you know, if it's putting up the silt fence, we may not call him. It's just, hopefully he'll call me.
Okay.
Since we're doing the addendums, you know, to the calendar days, is it any way that we could add, to the resolution, whereas it's the town believes in the, where we can put in there that the clock starts once he gets to Pinelands, that's when the 705 days start? Instead of just saying Exhibit A?
So in the third whereas clause from the bottom of the addendum,
Right.
we could say redeveloper has requested an extension of the landfill redevelopment agreement commensurate with Exhibit A, contingent on approvals with which redeveloper is diligently pursuing, and upon receipt of Pineland's approval, the 705-day clock shall begin.
Perfect.
Emily, where are you? You're in the addendum.
Yes.
Okay. Is the resolution going to change?
Ken and Brett have that.
So the resolution that was just provided, the resolution that was provided just the committee just allows for the execution of the addendum, but I believe that that adjustment is going to be in the addendum solely.
Are you going to add that to the resolution?
The resolution, as I'm reading it now, does not refer that the addendum should be attached to this resolution and make a part of the resolution.
Correct.
But, I admit I was confused by that myself and thought I was going to attach it to the resolution as well as the addendum, just to be sure. But
We could amend the resolution on section 2 to indicate that the authorized mayor and the township administrator to execute said addendum attached to this resolution. It could be modified and added in for modification.
It's good.
Works for everybody?
number
Is
two,
everybody comfortable with that?
attached
On
here
number
to,
two on
be a
page
part
1.
thereof.
Correct,
It will be attached?
to the resolution.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'll motion.
Okay,
Second.
all right, thank you. Thank you. All right, so.
Thank you.
Roll call vote, please.
A little behind. Richard Cheek and Dr. Witherspoon.
Yeah,
Mr. Cheek?
yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laws?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Okay. For public hearing, adoption, and ordinances, there's nothing this evening. CNNA here.
Yep,
What?
yep.
Yeah.
Correct, okay. So we'll move right on. Introduction of ordinances, public hearing to be held April 15th, 2024. A, ordinance number 2071-2024, an ordinance of the Township of Hamilton for the impoundment of shopping carts and penalties for abandoned shopping carts. Can I get a, well,
I'll move that.
motion? Second?
Second.
Motion? Got a motion and a second? Got it? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laws?
Yes.
All yes and introduced.
Thank you. Award of bids, contracts, change orders. Does that require roll call? Oh. There are not, okay.
Yeah, Deputy Mayor, we don't have any awards of bids, contracts, or change orders for this evening.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, the consent agenda. Is there anybody like anything separated from the consent agenda to discuss openly?
I motion to go A through I.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laws?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Okay. Personnel. A resolution to appoint Mary Kelly as full-time interim executive assistant to the administrator/JIF fund commissioner effective 4/8/24 at an hourly rate of $45, not to exceed 35 hours per week. Can I get a
Motion?
motion or second?
Did you make the motion?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay. Have a roll call, please.
A question?
Oh, any questions? Yes.
Just one question.
Okay, sorry.
Is she back here because she was in Virginia, according to this thing? How's that gonna work?
She's waiting for tonight's meeting to see if she's getting approved before she moves back.
Before she relocates? Because I was just wondering how she was gonna do that from Virginia. Okay, all right.
Good question.
All right.
All right. All right, so roll call, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laws?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Okay, approvals. Sorry. A, minutes, regular meeting minutes of March 18th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, the roll call vote.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laws?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
B, bills. Bill list totaling $1,252,369.49. It's a lot of capital. We approving that?
So moved.
All right, second?
Negotiated.
Yeah, right. We got a second?
Did you second?
I'm not, you know I don't do that.
Did someone approve?
I did.
She moved it, we got a second, okay. Carl says, I don't do that. All right, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laws?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Okay. All right, reports. We have our administrator first, please.
So I just want to speak real quickly about the dam and
Oh,
the
sure.
water levels on the lake.
Sure.
You're going to notice, the public's going to notice some fluctuating water levels in the next next few months. I've directed Public Works to use the powerhouse as much as possible between now and the construction of the spillway. The idea is to try to make sure and to see this powerhouse work, because we're not going to have a spillway or 3 floodgates
Okay.
once they put the coffer dam in front of the spillway. So I really want to see what that powerhouse will do, make sure it's going to control the lake. So,
Great.
so right now we're trying to, it's like a trial and error to try to anticipate a rain event. Like they're forecasting 2 inches of rain, we get 4 inches of rain. So how much in advance do we have to open the new powerhouse to keep the spillway at 0? Right now, we don't know. We're trying to figure that out. If we make a mistake, we can always open the floodgates. So right now, it's trying to figure out how to operate that powerhouse effectively for when the time comes when that dam's no longer going to be able to be used.
Absolutely.
So,
That's great.
again, we're not going to flood the town. You may see some fluctuating level. You may see it get up high. You may see it drop down really low. We're trying to come up with a formula to operate that powerhouse.
Well, just so you guys know in television land that you'll see some fluctuation in levels, and it's by design. Love it.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one question, Brett. It's in the report. The rabies clinic was changed, the venue? Do you know where?
It's here at Town Hall.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Our solicitor, do you have anything to report? Anything to report today? Thank you so much for all your help this week, preparing for today. Appreciate you. Engineer?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I did email everybody a hot topics list. If anybody had any questions regarding any of the items, be sure to ask. I just wanted to give an update on Underhill Park. So it will be advertised on April 4th, this Thursday, in the paper for bidding purposes. We are opening the bids on April 25th, and we hope to award it on May 6th meeting. And our aggressive bidding process is to maintain the $650,000 grant money that we have for the project. We are, just to include there is ADA pathways, new fencing around the baseball fields. We're including the retrofitting of the bathrooms for the concession stand as well to meet ADA compliance. And we're also putting a supplemental bid of repaving Old Egg Harbor Road along the whole frontage of the park there. We're going to see how those bids come in. If they are a little high with the roadway, we'll probably include that into the road program. We might be able to get a better price with that. But we should have that roadway paved by the end of the year as well. And besides that, I give you a list of the roads that Brett had informed everybody from the last meeting. And I just want to piggyback onto the dam water fluctuation elevation. That was the first time I went up there last week with Mr. Tilley, and he gave me a great tour of it, and I was very impressed with how it works. Unfortunately, trying to guess the elevation of opening those gates is going to be a little bit of a guessing game, knowing how much rain will come or not. And living on the lake, I see it, and I'm always in touch with Chris. So it'll be an ongoing process, and I think we're going to work it out because, as Brett said, once that spillway is closed off, these gates are the only thing that are going to be controlling it, and we need to know exactly how much we have to open it. So that's it.
Great. Excellent. All right, Township Committee members, we'll start with Dr. Witherspoon.
I attended the Atlantic County League of Municipalities meeting in Bowling on March the 22nd at the Savory Inn, and the clerk, Joe Girallo, was there and was the guest speaker. And I'm sure that everybody has read that the ballot, there was a court case concerning the way the ballots are, and it has been changed. It was 49 states, which I didn't know, were doing it by block voting. And so there's no more any lines, like A, B column.
Right.
That's over with. I'm sure that the clerk will be coming out with a message for it, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of that. He said that they didn't have enough time to change the ballot, so everybody voting in, at least in New Jersey or South Jersey, will be getting a mail-in ballot. So that's how everybody will have to vote on this particular time, because they will not have an opportunity to change it between now and the primary. So I got that information, and I wanted to make sure that I brought that back to the township. I did get the opportunity to go to the new outlet grocery store. I was not able to be there on the opening day, but I did go by Saturday and introduce myself and welcomed him to Hamilton Township. I cannot pronounce his name, so I called him Chuck. And said, Chuck, welcome to Hamilton Township. So I was excited to do that. And the Hamilton Township Sustainable Team Earth Day is coming up at Oak Crest High School on Saturday, May 4th, the Green Fair event. And it's a very nice event. I have been attending this event for maybe 3 or 4 years, or at least a couple of years, and I really, really like it. It's going to start at 10 and end at 2. They're going to have the free recycling, the shredding, and all of that, and green initiatives, free workshops, and they have local businesses, 50-plus vendors and exhibitors. So would like everyone just to mark that down on their calendar, to go by and support the Hamilton Sustainable Team. They do an excellent job, and they just do a nice job. And it's a nice organized event. And it was raining last year, but they made it work. And I was out there with my umbrella. I did attend last year and was staying a little bit, so we want to make sure that this gets out. And I also done a post, and I'm sure the chief has it on there, but I done a post for everyone to remind everyone that this is the awareness month for distracted drivers. So if your children or grandchildren are out there, or you, with a cell phone, and you're doing it while you're driving and you get stopped by the cops, they're not being mean. They got a grant. So I was letting everybody know that if you get stopped, you're going to get a ticket. So we just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that. Please tell your loved ones not to get distracted, and pick up the phone or dial or call or do anything this particular month, because if Hamilton Township police see you, they're going to stop you. And last but not least, I did attend the award ceremony. It was very nice on last Thursday. It was nice to see the people. I think people need to be appreciated. And they've done a great job here in Hamilton Township. I stayed until the end. And it was very, very nice because I got to see some of the officers and dispatchers that I really didn't know. As a result of that, I will be on tour tomorrow. I've contacted the chief to go to the police department and the dispatch unit so I can familiarize myself with the good employees that we have here in Hamilton Township. That's my report.
Awesome, thank you. Committeeman Patelli, got anything you'd like to share?
Piggyback on Dr. Witherspoon, I also attended the award ceremony, and I just got to ask, how come the chief never gets an award? What's up with that? I don't know. I was waiting for you to get something, but I want to say congratulations to the Officer of the Year, Patrick McCoggan. From what I could see, he's a heck of an officer, and we're really lucky to have him with us. And of course, all the other officers and that received a commendation. It was nice to see them all, well, except for the ones that were working, but it was nice to see them all here. And like Dr. Witherspoon said, people like that pat on the back, even the dispatchers and some other people that were involved. And it was amazing to see all the things that went on in our town this past year. And also knowing that we have all these officers that are able to take control of the situation and get things done and put people behind bars that belong behind bars. So great job. Tell me, you took pretty much everything. I got nothing. I got nothing.
There's a long list here, and it's all gone.
You can talk about
the green team.
You can talk about the
May
green team.
4th. Another thing that happens on that day is we'll do a road cleanup at Babcock Road, correct? 8 o'clock, where are we meeting?
We're meeting at the intersection of 32nd and Atlantic Avenue.
32nd Atlantic Avenue. Meet there, sign a release. So if you get poison ivy or you get stabbed or something by a piece of glass, No, but that's normally a good time. We have a good time. We laugh. We make it fun. So please come on down, help clean up the road. And I suggest anybody in your family is getting close to being a driver, have them come down. So then maybe they won't throw trash out of their window, because it is the most frustrating thing in the world to see how much trash, and it's just all stuff thrown out the window. So come on, people, don't do that. Let's keep Mays Landing classy. And that's really all I have. So Reagan, I'll see you soon. Maddie, I miss you, love you, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much, Committeeman Patali, and I think that's a great idea, to bring your kid who's about to drive safely, know not to throw stuff out the window. Committeeman Cheek.
I would have went to the awards, but I called the chief, and I was sick that day, so no one wanted me there.
Don't bring that here, right?
I'm pretty sure he's not getting any awards this year either.
And I was fortunate before I attended the turnover meeting for the Powerhouse Dam and saw how the locks, everything worked and whatnot, and it was really neat. And since being there, I've been keeping an eye on it to see if water's coming through it and everything else. It's really a pretty neat system. And then when we had rain, we've had rain a lot, probably 2 weeks ago, I went by and there was no water coming over the overflow, over the dam. It rained 2.5 inches that day. You could see the water coming out from the powerhouse extremely fast and a little bit of water coming over the spillway. So Public Works, you had to figure it out. You got to figure it out. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Committeeman Cheek. For myself, I'd like to say, thank you to all of you for attending the meetings. It seems like there's certain faces here every week, and I'm actually happy that you guys showed up on my first night of, handling things for our mayor. And all the calls and all the support I got this week from everyone who looked out for me to make sure I didn't mess this whole thing up. So thank you guys very much. I also I did do the ribbon cutting for the grocery outlet, and I got to tell you what great people. And the last name is Nady, and it's N-N-A-D-I, so it's Nady. And I was messing it up too, so don't feel bad.
I was talking about the first name.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So it's a husband and wife team, and they did some really great things at the grand opening. One of which is they made some donations. Usually companies wait to make money before they start handing money out, but they led with a couple donations. One was to the Funny Farm. It was a large check. Well, when I say large check, I don't know how much money, but the check was large for a Funny Farm. And the other was St. Vincent's de Paul. So our local school and the Funny Farm, two local nonprofits, did benefit from the opening of this company, and I'm just very, very happy to see that. We're very grateful. Price-wise, they're right there. And they have some of everything, and I think this is going to be a good neighbor for us. Also, I found out that they actually live here in Hamilton Township, too, so they've lived here. And the gentleman had attended Stockton State College and went on to grad school, and he's getting his doctorates now, or he has his doctorates now. But just a fantastic story. When they talk about pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, this family actually has done that. I'm very proud of what they accomplished. Lastly, the police awards. Just an awesome event. This room was packed. A lot of blue. A lot of blue all the way around the room. Greg actually shaved and trimmed his mustache and everything before the event. It was awesome. But what I was struck by is how much you guys are faced with on a daily basis. Look, I moved here from Philadelphia years ago in 1980, and Philadelphia, has its level of crime, and Mays Landing has its level. And I never in a million years knew that our men and women in blue in this town had to face so many things. Now, I see a lot of the youth stuff because I commit myself to that, but what you guys are doing is outstanding, and I thank you for doing two things. A, hiring the right staff that's able to handle this stuff without incident. B, and some of the stuff was massive. I mean, some of the stuff was really huge. Even a cold case, I recall, it was a very, very intricate cold case that they figured out, when others gave up, when others said, well, we can't find, our staff went in and dug up more information and took it that extra level to bring people to justice. And I'm just impressed by some of this stuff. It's almost like the TV shows. But I want to thank you for that, and thank you for awarding those ladies and gentlemen properly. Thank you so much, and I look forward to doing it again next year. All right, that's all I have, and now if we have a motion to...
Open it to public comment.
Oh, okay, there we go. My first time, and I got to the end to mess it up, right? Motion to...
Turn the paper over.
Open up.
Oh, it's my next page, my next page, yeah, right. So I'd like to open up the floor to any public comment.
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion and a second. Thank you guys so much.
All those in
All right.
favor?
All those in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
All right, so do I have a motion to close now?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, I'm supposed to say that too, right? No, all right. We're unanimous.
Meeting closed, bang.
All right. Meeting is closed.